we are downtown Los Angeles. I'm going to bring my cardio outside today, involve a series of interval sprints with just some low intensity running around downtown. No food. I'm going to do this this cardio fasted. Just some water and a thermogenic. Warming up, just in some light stretches. Mobilize the joints, get some blood pumped into my muscles. Now I can move on, start to warm up the body, get my mind right, build into that mindset of cardio sprints, and then we're just going to move around the city and kind of take whichever direction takes our fancy. Do some chin-ups, some crunches, some jumps, basically just keep the body active and open up the mind as well.
And we don't need to do the things we don't want to do.
Cardio for me used to be about fat burning. It used to be in the gym, on the bike. It's all about my heart rate, no more than 20-30 minutes. For me now, cardio is about getting out of my head, out of my body. If anything, it frees up my mind, allows me to think, and really allows me to set up my day. So today, I'm in downtown Los Angeles. I like to get out of the gym. Some days I'll be in the gym on the bike or the rower, but today, great weather, I start early. And so to come to downtown Los Angeles, there's so many different nooks and alleys and pathways that I can run down and run up, and stairs and obstacles to jump up or lift my body weight up. And that's a real dynamic way of exercising both the mind and the body. So I start with the thermogenic. I do my cardio without eating. I get it done first thing in the morning, purely because for the past 10, 11 years, that's the way I've done it. I utilize my body's stored fat as my fuel. So it's a mixture of fast interval training with the sprints, which basically consists of 20 seconds of all-out effort sprinting, and then a recovery phase walking back, and I repeat that 6 or 8 times. And then just finding a place to run, upstairs, down some of the streets. There's no real objective. 20 minutes, and if I find a ledge, something I can jump onto, or a ledge I can lift my body weight up, it's just all about having some fun with my cardio. Once I've hit my run, I get some BCAAs in, branched chain amino acids. It's important to look out for a high leucine content, and that's it, nothing else. Just clean, simple BCAAs mixed with some water. And as I head back to change up, get on with my day, just a protein shake, a scoop and a half of whey or pea protein. You don't have to get too crazy about mixing everything into it. This isn't a weight workout. I just want to get some protein into my body, start that protein turnover. Then once I'm back home, I've showered, I've dressed, then I can eat breakfast, carry on with my day, and then usually I'll head back down to the gym in the afternoon and start my weight training program. So that's what cardio is for me. It's to get out of the gym, to get out of my home and just run. Just get my heart rate up, and I'm not worried about what my heart rate is doing or how long I'm out running. I'm just gonna keep running until I feel good. Once I'm at that point, I know I've done something, I can get back, move on with my day, and then my training doesn't start to define me. I don't live my life around my training. Training is just part of my life. So whether it's cardio and weight training, or weight training with a little bit of cardio after, it's really no more than 1 hour, 1.5 hours total out of my entire day. So that's the morning run finished. Now we're gonna head off and see Eric, who works at LA Sports Massage, have him work on my shoulder and a little bit around my chest before later on heading back down to the gym and see if he can open up some of the pectoral to improve some of my bench presses. So let's get to it. So with the morning cardio done, finished, I'm here in Venice to meet with Eric, who works at LA Sports Massage. The focus here is over the past couple of months I've been just getting some work done on my upper pectoral region and around my shoulders, just so that when I'm in the gym, I'm pressing, I'm doing all of my flies, I'm not getting any sort of little injuries arising around my shoulder joints. So 20 or 30 minutes here, and then we've got a couple of rounds to kill before we head to the gym and actually put this to the test with some shoulder workouts.
How do you feel after that session?
How can I describe this? It's a deep kind of pain, but I know I'm going to feel better after it, so it's kind of doing my best to endure it. But I mean, when I was face down, I was pretty much knocked out.
Okay.
I was in and out of sort of consciousness in a good way. But I feel good. Everything's kind of much more freely moving, mobilized, and I know you said most people go back and tend to rest. I'm going to head down to the gym.
Okay.
I'm going to go through a chest workout, all the different angles, and really test all of the work that we've been doing over the past couple of months.
Okay.
To make use. So I did have one question for you. You're always a source of knowledge when I'm down here, which I love. One question that I get asked a lot, I'm sure you do as well, is stretching. Before, during, after weight training, what's your thoughts on incorporating stretches so that basically we can have a good workout, but we're not having that as much DOMS or that muscle soreness in the following days?
Exactly, the late onset muscle soreness. So with stretching should never hurt.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what age you are, 18 or 88. If you're stretching and you get sharp pain, that's a stop, see a doc. But what you want to do is before you do a deep stretch or any kind of stretching before your actual workout, do a little cardio, 10 minutes, get your heart rate up.
Right.
That brings your core temperature up. There's a condition called thixotrophy. which means when something is cold, it's like oil. Cold oil moves slower. When you warm it up, it starts to move a little more
Which makes sense, right?
So you warm up the oil, warm up the body. You do your stretches, you do your workout, and now your metabolism is up. That's an excellent time to stretch. Again, no balancing. You know the protocol. Any sharp pain, stop immediately.
So stretching before a weight training session?
A little bit.
A little. Okay.
Like
Just literally a warm up.
You're just gonna get all the muscles. You tell them we're going. It's on now. We're just doing the basic stuff.
Okay.
And then you do it so that you have a little bit extra when you need it instead of a pull.
And then you progressively sort of build up with the weight so that you're not just jumping in with a heavy weight.
Exactly.
What about after? Once the workout is all done, a cool down cardio session stretch? What are your thoughts with that?
You can do some cool downs, maybe 15 minutes on the hamster wheel or the bike. I call the treadmill hamster.
Okay.
And then you do a little bit of, you're doing this kind of thing. The idea is to flush.
Okay.
But I wouldn't do like super deep knee.
So we don't need to be holding it and really trying to get in.
No,
it's basically just
it's just a
warm up
flush.
and a cool down to benefit.
Just like when you do, you walk out after you run, you walk out a bit. That's it. It's like that.
Eric, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you so
We're going
much.
to hit the gym in a little bit, get some food in, and this has been great because, like I said, it's a chest workout, a lot of shoulders, triceps, and pectorals, and I think getting that full range of motion, which, as we spoke about before, is just it's really important for sort of maximizing that hypertrophy within the muscle. So perfect, wonderful. All right, guys, let's move on and get some food. We're heading to a gym workout.
All right, thanks.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thanks so much.
What's up, guys? We're here at the gym. I've had a great morning cardio workout. Spent a little bit of time with Eric at LA Sports Massage, working out my chest and a lot of areas around my shoulders. So I'm gonna head in, warm up, get deep into a chest workout, maybe throw some shoulders in there as well. And at the end of each working set, I'm gonna turn to the camera and start to basically break down much of the exercises, the technique at what I'm incorporating into the chest workout. So let's get in there. So first off, little circuit here, 3 exercises. They don't have to be the actual exercises that I'll be performing in my chest workout. It's just a simple circuit that enables me to warm up the chest muscles through a range of different angles and movements. So incline dumbbell presses, flat bench dumbbell flies, and then a cross bench dumbbell pullover. 3 great movements to open out my chest, extend through, and to stretch it. A few stretches after each circuit, so 2 circuits in total. Listen, the weight really isn't an issue here. Maybe 50–60% of the weight I'm normally lifting. I'm really not aiming to get a pump in my chest. I'm just aiming to go through a range of motion. So now we can start the first major work set on incline bench press. And I'll say with this, my focus is primarily on the upper portion of my chest. So you're gonna see a lot of exercises focusing on this region as opposed to your typical standard bench press and dumbbell flies. Incline presses for my first exercise. Listen, the reason I start with this and not your typical flat bench press is I'm not trying to get my chest bigger, I'm not trying to get stronger. My workouts now are all about symmetry and balance and proportion. So for me, my chest, I need a little bit more balance up top. So whilst I'm fresh after my warm up, I want to build up to the maximum amount of weight that I can manage on an incline, because that's where much more of the upper clavicular pectoral, this region of the chest, as opposed to the more mid bulkier part, tends to get worked. It gets a lot more stress placed on it. So a couple of tips here. Progressively building up the weights. You see me work across 4 sets, with that last set being a drop set. And really what I'm doing here is like getting into a car and building up to top speed. I want to go through all the gears just like I'm going through a decent amount of weight, good increments, so that I can really warm up and engage the chest, rather than just putting a lot of weight on and trying to bench out the maximum. So no real rep range. Some were 10, 12, others came as low as 8. But as long as I reach my target, which is practically failure, I haven't got my training partner here, so I have to be careful, but I'm reaching up to my maximum threshold with the most weight I can lift. It's about 7 or 8 reps. Then I'm taking about half that weight off, widening my grip, getting a nice sort of wide incline press. And you'll see I'm pretty much pulsing just on the upper clavicular area, which is working here. So a lot of focus on my upper chest. I'm gonna move on, continue with some presses. We'll find a machine press, then I can start working more with the flies, dumbbells, and cables.
Now I've got you in my space. I won't let go of you. Got you shackled in my embrace. I'm latching onto
Second exercise, machine press. The reason I like the machine press after the free weights is because free weights, especially that barbell bench press, use a lot more muscle involvement, activation to actively press that bar and control it back down. So even though I'm doing the same type of basic press, by using machine, it fixes me in that very set range of motion. Therefore, I can put a lot of that tension firmly on the muscle without trying to balance or stabilize it. So free weights, barbells, dumbbells, machines, cables, even body weight, I try and mix it all into my chest workout and every other muscle group, just so that I'm always stressing the body from different angles, using different techniques. Speaking of techniques, a drop set I involved into this one, similar to on the first exercise. So within each exercise, certainly early on in the workout, I want to build up to the maximum weight I can lift for no less than 6 or 7 reps. Once I hit that point, I'm gonna push through, get 1 or 2 more reps after that, and then involve a drop set where I take about 30% of the weight back off and instantly go back into that set and just get as many more reps as I can, really stressing that muscle much more than if I was just trying to always lift heavy weights. So if you are training on your own, you don't have a spotter or a training partner to assist you and help spot on some of those heavy weights, make use of a rest pause, or like what I'm doing, immediately lower the weight down, that resistance, and jump back on that exercise and try and get 5, 6, even 8 or 10 more reps. Chest is feeling pumped. I'm gonna move on and start to incorporate some flies into this chest workout now.
I've got you in my space. I won't let go of you. Got you shackled in my embrace. I'm latching onto you. I feel we're close enough. I wanna lock in your love.
About chest flies is that it actually works the chest through its natural function, and that is it closes the arm in like this, just like the breast on a bird or a chicken. It does that with its wings. So doing that on a flat bench with dumbbells is probably the greatest exercise to cause the most effect with that particular motion. So I've already hit a couple of presses both on the incline and with the machine, and look, I mentioned earlier that I wanted to focus on my upper chest a lot. That doesn't mean every exercise always needs to be on an incline. I'm gonna vary the angle of the bench, the angle and the line of the pull or the push, either with cables or a barbell. There's always something different. I'm never gonna do the same exercise in the same manner over and over. So with the chest flies, pretty basic here, flat bench, fairly heavy. And you'll see that with my arm, I'm trying to keep quite a fixed angle at my elbow. I'm not bending my elbow or flexing it as I bring that weight up. I want to keep my arm complex here fixed. So all of that movement is being generated from the pectoral, squeezing in up at the top. Also, get nice deep as you lower the weight down, as low as you can. Really stretch out that chest. So I've got a slight bend in my elbow, otherwise I've got a lot of strain on my bicep. So just enough stretch to open out around the origin here. And as I bring that back up, getting a nice deep stretch and deep contraction in the chest. My final point here is, you'll notice on the last set, I was only focusing on about 2/3 of the motion. And that is the weight all the way down, and I'm pulsing it up, and I'm not closing the dumbbells all the way up. The reason for that is simply because I want to stress out around this area of my chest, and this gets worked the most, the outer region, when my arms are sort of at their furthest apart. So a lot of stress on there, not too heavy, but enough to get 8 or 9 good reps. Then I'm gonna drop that weight down, lower the weight, and finish off by closing the arms all the way from top to bottom. Chest is feeling really pumped. I'll tell you what, working with Eric a few hours ago, having him work on opening out my muscle fibers and kind of working around all the muscles in my shoulders, I genuinely do feel like I'm able to push more weight. So let's put that to the test, move on, and I'm gonna superset now some parallel bar dips for the lower chest and also some varying angles on the cable fly.
I feel we're close enough. I wanna lock in your love. I think we're close enough. Could I lock in your love, baby? I feel we're close enough. I wanna lock in your love. I think we're close enough. Could I lock in your love, baby? Now I've got you in my space. I won't let go of you. Got you shackled in my embrace. I'm latching onto you.
It's a great little combo here for chest. Those parallel bar dips, which a lot of people think actually targets their tricep, and it does, but just by tilting forwards at the waist, it's a great exercise to recruit and target more the lower region of the pectorals. That combined with our cable flies, both from a high angle, so this kind of movement down, to more of a neutral or shoulder level, and then a decline, upwards lift like that. Supersetting those back and forth. Rep range, to be honest, I'm not really counting. With the dips, it's until failure, and with the cable flies after the dips, I'm at about 60% of my normal weight, maybe 12, 13, 14 reps, but it's those final few repetitions where I can really feel every muscle fiber just fight to get the arm to that end position. And that's really what much of this workout is about. It's not about being so focused on the numbers, the weights, the reps. It's about having a general idea of what you want to achieve and then just setting out and smashing through it. So you'll see throughout that sometimes I'm on that 9th or 10th rep, other times I'm pushing 12, 13, 14 upwards and then doing a drop set. And that's simply because if it's feeling good and I want to run with it, I'm going to keep pushing. And that doesn't mean lifting heavier and heavier. It means working beyond and upwards of my threshold, and then including some other training or shocking principles, such as you've seen me do them, the drop sets, the rest pause, and the superset. It's been about a 30-minute chest workout. My chest is really feeling pumped. I've got a lot of blood in there, worked it through a lot of angles. It's feeling nice and just mobile. So I did say this was going to be a chest and a shoulder workout. So I'm going to do a simple circuit now, seeing as though I've got a lot of blood pulled into my upper region. My shoulders are nicely mobilized and warmed up. So I think I'm going to superset a press movement with a series of lateral raises. 15 minutes left and then we're done, and all of that in under 1 hour. That's the workout done. You saw that after a pretty detailed chest workout, I moved on to shoulders, really just as a circuit, 2 sets, 12, 15 reps each. I'm not focused on the overall weight, it's more just the pump that I'm getting in the shoulders, having already worked them within much of that chest workout. So nothing special here, just a seated dumbbell press. And then I moved straight on and did a circuit with some standing lateral dumbbell raises and then a bent over rear reverse fly or dumbbell fly, if you like. Purpose of this is, like I said, just to work the shoulders as an ancillary muscle, especially after they've already been involved in a lot of the chest workout. But chest was the primary focus of today's workout, and I can certainly feel it. Listen, a few pointers and tips I'd like to leave you with at the end of this workout, and that's really the focus should be more on the muscle activation, the involvement of the muscle. Don't worry too much about how much weight you're pushing. That will come, especially if you're just starting out. It would be much more productive for you to work with a lighter weight and really ask yourself every time you're performing that rep, that full extension, the full range of motion, am I feeling the muscle? Can I contract it? Am I feeling it squeeze? If not, you need to maybe drop that weight back and really find out what the cause is so that you can engage and squeeze that muscle. Otherwise, if you're not fully engaging the muscle, then you're not really fully optimizing that particular work set if you're only thinking about the weight or the reps, if that makes sense. One other thing is the contraction is probably just as important as the amount of weight you're lifting. And if you're unable to maximize that contraction and really squeeze the muscle on each and every repetition, even if you're not holding the actual rep there, just kind of moving the weights in and out, but you're still able to pump and flex that muscle, that I would say is as not, if not more important than the overall weight that you're lifting. So definitely take that into account on every workout you do. Speaking of which, this is one of 5 of my weekly workouts. The actual muscle groups don't change too often, but as you'll see, many of the training methods and the principles, drop sets, shocking principles that I incorporate into those workouts do. And you can find all of them on my profile at supplementsworld.com under the training tab. On that note, I'm gonna head back home. It's been a long day for me. I'm gonna wash this out, protein shake in here, another 2 scoops of protein, and then I'll eat a meal about an hour now once I'm home and changed. So until next time, listen guys, keep making progress. Even if it's only a tiny amount of progress each workout, it's still progress. Train hard and train smart. I'll see you guys back here soon. Take care.